What's going on, guys? This is your favorite college football podcast, the RPO podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones, and I'm here with some great guys. We got our guest appearance coming right back from last week, Mr. Jacob Keppen. How you doing today, Jacob?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Excited to be back here. Always excited to be on the best podcast in all of college football here, and
Let's go.
to be with some gents that are better than me here. I mean, look who we got here.
Definitely. It's always great to have you, Jacob, and I'm happy to have you again for the second episode in a row. And we got none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ray Roberts, right down here. How you doing, Ray?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. And Mr. Ray has something to show you guys. So go ahead, show him off. Show him.
Okay. Again, I don't want anybody to think that I'm a maniac, but Jerome calls me this every week. So my wife went out and bought me this shirt, and there you go.
There he is.
It's the legend. There it is. Come on.
The
She knows.
legend.
She says to me,
You didn't know, now you know.
She says to me, where does that saying come from? I'm like, I have no idea. It's old, so.
We've been saying it for years, and I picked it up. I don't even remember where I picked it up, but I know that Ray is the man, the myth, the legend. So that's all that matters. He got the T-shirt to show you that he is the guy, and these guys are definitely some great college football analysts, man, and that's why I always like to say that because Ray really puts in the work. He knows what he's doing. He's not biased. He, does the great stuff. So that's why Ray is the man, the myth, the legend.
Jeez, what's that?
And that's why I
name?
gotta do it. That's why I gotta do it. But let's get right into business, guys, because you already know what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be talking some college football players, and this week we're gonna be talking the top 10 interior offensive linemen. Now, if you missed it last week, we did the tackles last week, so we're gonna do the interior offensive linemen. That means guards, that means centers, all that good stuff. And before we even get into here, guys, if you are watching live, you are able to put in your comments. So put in your comment section, either if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on YouTube, please put your live comments in here. We will react to that. Listen, whatever, Ray's list is or Jacob's list is. If you agree with it, let us know. If you disagree or if there's somebody that you want us to shine some light on, let us know. We will talk about them, and we will be going back into our state of the franchise, state of the program at the end, talking about a couple of teams as well. So if you are on here right now, again, we appreciate it. And if you want to put in a live comment, please make sure you do that. All right, let's get right into it, guys, because I'm super excited to hear what you guys got. I always have to put Jacob in here when we're doing offensive lineman because that's his specialty. He loves it. So let's get right into it. And I'm gonna start with you, Jacob. Let's get into the interior offensive lineman. Who you have at number 10?
So I had a couple guys that were right here, but I'm gonna save the 10A, 10B for Ray this time. I'm gonna go with Tyrese Robinson, the guard from Oklahoma. He was someone that I hadn't seen many people talking about, and I don't know why. I think he's a very underrated player. Good power. He's not a guy that – there's a lot of guys that can move people in the run game, and he definitely does, but they're still able to get pushed back in the pass game. I don't see that much. He's a guy that gets the job done. He's experienced. He's a guy that I know is probably going to be on the Senior Bowl watch list this year. I think Robinson from Oklahoma, he's a good guard. I like him.
All right. Ray, what do you think about Robinson?
I have him, and if I were going to do a 10B, he would be my 10B, but I'm not going to do that this week, so I don't have him right outside.
That's fair, though. That's fair. Well, I got it out of you anyway.
There you go.
All right, Ray. Well, who is your number 10?
My number 10 is Cade Mays from Tennessee. He's a guard. He's 6'6", 325. He's a senior. He definitely will be coming out this year. A real beastly road grader. If you like the run game, you're going to like this kid. So,
all right, Jacob, what do you think about Mays?
He's probably would be my 12th guy, 11 or 12. Yeah, he's good. He's exactly what Ray said. I like him. I mean, there's certain things that he's not the best at, but if you need a guy that could just run block his butt off, he's your guy.
All right, awesome. All right, let's get to number 9. Ray, who do you have at number 9?
I have Ricky Stromberg, the center from Arkansas. Technically sound kid, not as powerful as I would like him to be right now. Hopefully after this year that will be more of his game, but pretty athletic, very technically sound, like I said, a good football player. And, of course, like Arkansas is one of them teams that they like to run up the score when they can, so he's very athletic.
Kevin, what do you think about the Arkansas Prowler?
Hey, I like him. I haven't watched enough for me to rank him, but I'd say I'd say looking at my rankings, like there's very close between 10 and like 11, 12, 13. Like those guys there could easily justifiably be in this top 10. So I do not have any qualms with that placement there, even though I haven't been able to get a full opinion on him. He's a pretty solid, good center.
All right, so who do you have at number 9 then?
I at number 9 have Alec Lindstrom from Boston College. He's good at what he's really good at. He's big. He's powerful in the run game. He's pretty smart. He's nasty. He's always looking to put guys on the ground. But there's just a couple of things in his games I don't like. Obviously, he's a bigger type of center. He's not the most agile guy. You're not going to see him. No one's going to mistake him for like a Jason Kelsey, in my opinion. Or Kels, I guess. We've been calling him wrong. We've been calling him wrong the entire time.
I've seen that earlier, by the way. I seen that earlier. And I was like, hold on, we've been saying this wrong the whole time.
And he's a guy that can definitely be beat by some speed rushers on the inside and can be off balance a bit. But as a guy that's just going to short set and maul you in the run game, he sets the tone. He's smart. He's someone that is hopefully can work on some things this year, especially the balance, because sometimes it can feel like he's out of control of his body a bit. You know, if he could just make himself more, he has all this firepower in him. He just makes it more under control. He could be even better.
All right, Ray, what's your assessment of him?
I love Alec Lindstrom. I have him a little higher than Jacob does.
That's fair.
I think we talked last week about guys that are lungers, and he's one of those guys.
Very much.
He wants to get out there and get his hands on guys right away, and when he misses, he gets himself a little off balance.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
All right,
yeah.
Let's get to your number 8 guy. Who you have right there?
All right, I'm next, right? Yeah. I have Grant Gibson from North Carolina State. I view him as almost an opposite type of guy. There were problems I had with him in terms of his overall power. Like there would be guys that'll push him back, but when you watch NC State, they put a lot of importance on him. They have him reach blocking a lot, and if he doesn't have his mobility and his ability to reach block like he does to make his assignments, then their entire run game, and they have a good run game, would just fall flat on its face. I really like his mobility, reach blocking, but there's just some power issues that I hope he can work out this year. I just like to see him get pushed back a little less next year. But as a good mobile center, I like him.
Does it? Ray, what do you think about him?
I have him just outside my top 10, but I agree with what Jacob said. If he were more physical, I probably would have him in my top 10.
Yeah.
But he's very athletic. He is a good athlete. I don't like comparing him to Travis Kelsey, but that's the kind of athletic ability I do see in him. So,
and they're going to love him come draft time, too.
Absolutely.
Like,
he's a guy
that he's going to be one of those guys that's more projected to be what the NFL wants, but he needs to make his game more better overall in all facets, not just, hey, he can move, you know. And he can move. He's a very good mover.
He is a very good athlete. I just worry about him at the point of attack right now. Yeah. I think a couple years down the line, he's going to be a really good football player. But right now, I see a guy who's a little light on his feet, and that where you can push him back a little bit too much sometimes.
Yeah, yes, and it's not even just interior linemen. Like when I was watching them against Pitt, you would see defensive ends, whether it's like Jones or I want to say Weaver, like they would even push him back a good solid amount and stand him up, where you'd expect a center to be able to, get some more vertical push on those guys and not get stopped in their tracks.
He seems to be a guy who is absolutely better on the move than being stout and keep his feet underneath of him right away. So
I agree with that 100%.
All right, awesome. So it is an interesting list so far because so far things been kind of different for you guys. Ray, who do you got at 8?
I have Emil I hate this name, Ekiar from Alabama. He's a center guard. He's playing guard this year for Alabama. I think if you move him to center, he'd probably be a little bit of a better football player. He's another kid who's athletic. He's strong. He's not physical, but he's strong. But he's an Alabama player, so he's going to go fairly high. So
Those Bama players. What do you think about him, Jacob?
With my number 7th overall interior offensive lineman, I have Emil Ekiyor. I don't know how to say it either. So that's why I'm happy. That's why I'm happy you got to mess it up before me. Same exact thing you say. I wouldn't say he's physical, but if they teach him more, which I think they can this year, to just be more physical, because you see the power at the point of attack. He's very good at sealing when he's pulling. It just needs to be. He's like 75-80% an Alabama lineman right now, and if he becomes 100% like the other guys we've seen, man, he's going to be good. But yeah, like I said, he's my number 7, so we're same ballpark here.
All right, Ray, who do you have at number 7?
I have Alex Lindstrom from Boston College at number 7. Jerome, I respect Boston College players. They are usually good physical football players. Not the best athlete, though, but a good physical football player. So,
yeah, definitely. Is Alex Lindstrom a 5th-year senior?
He is a 5th-year senior.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I feel like he's been around for a minute now.
Yeah.
I think he had an injury year where he kind of redshirted that year.
Yeah, gotcha. And people got the extra year because of the COVID, too.
Yes.
So.
Yep.
Definitely. All right, Jacob. We already got on number 7. So
we got number 7.
Ray, who do you have at number 6?
I have Marquise Smith from Oklahoma at number 7. At number 7, we're on now, or 6. I have Marquise Hayes from Oklahoma, number 6. Now, this is a kid who is big, strong, physical, has pretty good feet for him. Like, for a guy who's 340 pounds, his feet move pretty well. He's like a dancing bear type of a guy. And, of course, we know Oklahoma likes to run the ball, and he fits right along that line. So,
Definitely. What do you think about him?
I had him similarly in that position with guys like Tyrese Robinson, with Mays, with like Nick Ford from Utah, like just in that 10 and outside range there. But again, I can't really be upset with this. Like there's only like one guy not being where he's supposed to be in this list that I will be upset with. So, because these guys are all good. They're all good players. If you're a multi-year starter at one of these programs, you're not a scrub. You might not be an NFL player, but by college standards, you're a good player.
I think everybody that we've talked about so far, Jake, were draftable guys. So.
Yeah, I would agree. But you know what I'm saying. Like, these guys might not be first-round players. They're like,
no. I don't think
top 10 talent in the draft. But they're all guys that should get a look, because of how good they are.
My next 3 or 4 guys will be guys that will be taken in the first 3 rounds. But everybody after that I spoke about, I think, rounds 4, 5. Again, an offensive lineman, here's the thing. Interior offensive linemen do not always go early.
No.
It's usually the tackles that go early. But we're seeing a case, especially with guys like athletic centers, where they kind of jump up a little bit, because you do have a lot of centers that want to pull now, run and help out with the screen game and all that. So,
yeah.
Definitely. And for our new viewers that just came in, once again, we appreciate it. If you have any comments or anything that you want to talk about, please do so right now. We do live reactions, so whatever you want to put in there, we will put on the screen and we'll answer your questions. Or you just want to give us a shout out, please do that as well. So we're gonna get into our top 5 now, and Ray, you're gonna start us off with your number 5.
Hold on. I haven't given my number 6 yet. Hold on, you're jumping the gun here.
My apologies.
Jumping the gun here. Come on.
I'm getting too antsy.
All right. I have Jared Patterson from Notre Dame. Pretty much just picture a Notre Dame player. That's Jared Patterson. I like him. I see Ray's reaction. I don't know if it's a good or bad one here, but I liked his overall game, and he's an experienced player. I think he's going to look good in that line this year.
I, of course, love Jared Patterson, but he actually plays tackle this year, so I didn't put him in.
See now, here's the thing. I kind of the way I did it was where I saw most guys play majority of them. So there's going to be some guys in my top 5 that are playing tackle this year, but because I have not seen most of them play tackle enough, and I'll give a caveat on the one guy, he should have been on my tackles list, but there's some guys that I'm going to say they're top interior guys because of what we've seen already. So that's why I'm putting Patterson there. Hopefully we're talking about him as a top tackle after this, though.
I think that he'll be a center guard at the next level, but Notre Dame has a way of putting guys that are starting players and then moving them to left tackle once one guy moves out. That's what they do.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessary. I think it's because of their athletic ability. Sometimes I think it's because they're seniors, and that's what Brian Kelly likes to do. So,
definitely. All right, so Jacob, is it okay? I can go to number 5 now.
Yeah, you can go to number 5.
You cool?
I give permission. That's cool.
All right, let's get to number 5, Bradley. Let's get to your number 5. Your number 5.
Lucida Smith from Virginia Tech. I got him at number 5. 6'3", 320, junior guard. Another kid who's very athletic, like a lot of Virginia Tech players are very athletic. Wish he was a little bit stronger, but for right now, I think he's a really good football player, and I think he's a 4th. I haven't taken in the 4th round, maybe, but again, I value interior linemen more than most people do. So.
All right. Jacob, what do you think about the
haven't watched yet. Haven't watched them yet, sadly. Haven't gotten my hands on that Virginia Tech tape yet, but I'll be
get on it, man.
Get on it. Listen, I'm trying my best. Listen, most people are only specialized in one position or one conference, man. I gotta try doing it all here. I'm trying my best.
We get you, man. All right. So who do you have at number 5 then?
I have Kane Madden. I believe he just transferred to Ray, you can correct me on this. He's transferring to Notre Dame, correct?
He is.
But former Marshall guard, really, really good run blocker. I remember the first game I watched him. I don't remember who they played, but the very first play, he just pushed the dude over. We're not even talking blocked him. Dude came up and he just swatted him away. I said, "Oh, the very first play, huh?" He loves putting people on the ground, just an absolute force as a run blocker. And I think he is really just going to fit Notre Dame so well. I really like him as a player. The only reason I don't have him higher is because we haven't seen him at one of those against that top level competition yet. He definitely can be a top 3 guy with his talent, but just playing in the conference he played in, it's kind of hard for me to put him over some of these other guys.
Okay. Ray,
even though there's only 4 of them.
What do you think about Mace?
I like him. Of course, I love the fact that he went to Notre Dame. I don't have him in my top 10, though.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, let's get to number 4. Jacob, who you have at number 4 now?
I have Donovan West from Arizona State. He was someone that impressed me a lot more than I thought he was. He just seemed like a really all-around solid player. I like the athleticism. I like the run blocking. One thing I did have a problem with sometimes is he'll play too high, and not even a leverage. It's not even like a leverage thing to where he's not like, because there's plays where he'll get good leverage, he'll bend his knees, he'll do everything right, he'll drive his opponents. But there'll be some plays where on contact, he won't just be higher than his opponent, he'll just like stand up. And we see that with some guys sometimes. But that's one of the things he really has to iron out this year. But as just an overall player, I liked him a lot from what I saw. I really think he does a good job at shutting down defensive tackles, and not just he's a guy that isn't just a really good run blocker in my opinion. He can kind of be more overall.
Ray, what do you think about him?
I have him at number 12, and this is the nice thing about doing this with Jacob right now. It gives me a chance to speak about guys as my 10 A, 10B, 10C without having to bring them up. You know what I mean? So,
Nice.
But I do have him at 12. I have him just outside my top 10. But again, a draftable guy, fifth, anywhere from round 5 through round 7. Absolutely a draftable player. So.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This list is definitely going in different directions right now.
Yeah. It's gonna go even more out of it because I have a feeling I included 2 players I probably shouldn't have. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Who do you have it for?
I have Ben Brown from Mississippi.
Okay.
Another guy who's very athletic, is actually strong, but a guy who also lunges a little bit too much and loses his balance sometimes. So,
Jacob, your reaction. I want to know what that's about.
I forgot to put him on my list.
Jacob.
Yeah, he probably would have been around the 5-6 range. Yeah.
Okay, so
that's my bad. That's my bad there.
It happens, man. It happens. All
so
right.
I think I should say everything how I feel about him.
Good.
You know, I feel like I would put him in a similar placement. So I think exactly what Ray said. He's a good player. Someone that's not getting enough attention, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So much not enough attention. You didn't even put him on your list. All right, Jacob.
Now you know why he's not getting the attention.
I'm a part of the problem.
Jacob. You're not getting enough attention, man.
Yeah, I'm a part of the problem. What can I say?
All right, let's go to number 3. Who you have at 3, sir?
So yeah, these are where. Let me just put this in, and then Ray, you could say 2 of these guys. One of these guys, I'm going to defend the other one, but when I say my 3, he shouldn't be on this list. But I'm going to defend it anyway because, you know. You can go, Ray. You got this.
Okay, you want me to name my next one?
Yeah, you got this.
Okay, I get Ed Ingram from LSU at number 3. Really was probably LSU's best offensive lineman last year. But because LSU's offense was not as good, didn't get the attention that he probably should have. So
definitely, and couple of it's funny that you say him, right? Because a couple of his ex teammates really backed him up. Damian Lewis, a guy that we actually interviewed, said this kid's going to be the next best LSU lineman. Just recently too. So even his old former teammates who Damian Lewis, who came into the league starting as a guard for the Seahawks. Give him good praise. Jacob, what do you think about him?
Same situation as the Arkansas center, to where I agree with what Ray's saying, but I've only watched like a game of his, so I can't give a full rounded opinion yet. This should probably be I still like my top 3 guys better, even though 2 of them shouldn't be here, but I'll explain why they're there in a second. I probably still like West better, honestly, but I'd probably put him ahead of Patterson at like 5. But haven't watched enough games yet. He might have some bad games on tape that I haven't watched, so I don't know.
If you watched the LSU against Alabama game last year, he probably had his best game in the season playing against a team where he was completely overmatched.
That's the game I watched.
To the other.
That's the game I watched, and that's what I hear. So I want to see if
He was a man among boys in that game, and usually against Alabama, you don't look that strong, and he did. And he just, again, because LSU was not quite as good last year. Well, I should say they were not as good, period, last year. But Ed Ingram was one of the bright spots in their offense. So,
agreed.
All right, the great reveal. He's your number 3.
All right, so when we talked to tackles, right, there was 2 players who are guard tackle hybrids who are playing tackle next year. I wasn't sure. Do I rank him as a tackle? Do I rank him as an interior lineman? Well, I didn't rank him as a tackle, so I'm going to give him some love here. Ikwanu from NC State should have been on my tackles list. Did not realize how much he played tackle last year. So just put him in the top 3 for the tackles till, retroactively. We love you, Ikwanu. Really good. Absolutely just so physical in the run game. Moves better than I thought he would, being as big as he is. He impressed me. It was kind of hard for me to watch the center Gibson with how just dominant he was at times. I mean, he has to really be more consistent, and that's something you could say for almost all of these guys. But Ikwanu, I really like him. And Ray's going to say he's not a guard. He's not a center. He shouldn't be on here. But guess what? We didn't talk about him in the first list, so I'm going to defend. I'm going to defend my choices, man. What can I say?
Definitely. Jacob is referring to our podcast from last week. So you haven't seen that, you go on YouTube, check it out. It's on there. So just search Inside the Hashes, go to our videos and look up RPO. It will be on there when we talk about our offside tackles. Ray, what do you think about this player, John?
I like him as a guard at the next level, but he is playing tackle this year, so I didn't even put him on my list. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, but this one I'll take more fault for because he played probably about half the games last year at tackle. He did. He definitely should have been on my tackles list. Then my number 2 guy definitely. I'm proud to keep him on my interior lineman list. But I like Ikwanu a lot. I think he's going to be even better this year. I don't know. He's a guy I wish would just stay at guard on. There's somebody I don't want. Everyone tries putting really good tackles at guard and then really good guards at tackles, and I'm like, hey, why don't we just keep these guys where they're good at? But nah.
You know why? Because people are not sure about arm length yet. That's part of the reason. And there are a lot of reports that he only has 32.5-inch arms. So,
yeah.
Definitely. It's the Quentin Nelson situation,
It is. Absolutely.
About him at tackle is like, why do that when he's an all-pro guard,
Yeah, No, I'm excited to see who Ray has on here.
And speaking of that, let's talk about your number 2, Ray.
I have Zion Johnson from Boston College. Again, I love how physical Boston College plays. He is a guy who is very physical. He is a solid athlete, but more than anything else, he's a team captain and he's extremely intelligent. So,
yeah, if you guys haven't been watching our podcast, you know that Ray is an undercover, Boston College fan.
You know what it is, Jerome? It's because a lot of guys, they're recruited by Notre Dame, and if they don't quite go to Notre Dame, they're kind of like, because they're both Catholic universities, both put, their grade point average up there as almost as important as their athletic ability. A lot of guys that would go to Notre Dame would go to Boston College and vice versa, depending on how good they are. So
that's definitely true. That's definitely true. All right, Jacob, reveal you're number 2.
First of all, I'd like to say sorry, Zion Johnson's playing tackle, but
But he's not, though. He played tackle last year some, but this year he's starting at guard.
I thought he was still starting at tackle. Then why is everyone still listing him as a tackle? You know what, Boston College, just email us or drop it in the comments. Tell us where he's playing next. Tell us where he's playing next year. I mean, I like him. He was on my tackle list, so I like Zion Johnson a lot. I know he played left tackle last year. They have him listed at left tackle on the depth chart. I don't know.
Because this year they had Tyler Vrabel was going to be the starting left tackle for them this year, and they're going to move him in the guard.
Huh, weird. They have him at right tackle in this one. Who knows? Who the heck knows with this, man?
I'm looking at a Boston College media guide right now, actually.
Wow. Why did they send me one? What's happening here?
I actually, you know what? I got a media guide for every
I don't have the shirt.
and all the independents and all the Big Ten teams.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get me on that mailing list there, but I guess I'm not the man, the myth, the legend here.
There you go.
I wish I wasn't paying for them, but I am. Okay.
Oh. Well, there we go. There we go. You could have let me know with the making these lists, but I'm talking about a guy who's going to be playing tackle this year. I don't think he's a tackle at all. He was a great guard. Kenyon Green from Texas A&M, absolutely beasted at guard. He's powerful. He puts guys in the ground. He's good moving side to side. I'd like to see him move guys. I'd like to see him do better moving forward vertically, but he's just a guy that really impressed me. I know Ryan Roberts talks a lot about him, says how good he is, but he's just a really good player. They're going to play him at tackle this year. I don't know if that's the right move, but obviously you want your best players playing tackle, and it'll do for this year, but he's a guard at the next level, and I guess I'm gonna overrule this list with me being a draft analyst, and that's where I'm looking at him as. That's where I'm looking at him as. So get this tackle mess out of here. He's a guard. He looks like a guard. He literally he looks like a guard. Yeah, you build a guard in the lab, it looks like him. So that's what I have him at 2. You're gonna tell me I'm wrong, but that's all right because I'm gonna go to bed happy tonight.
I would not tell you you're wrong, except for the fact that he's not playing guard.
Oh man,
you're right about everything you say, except for he's not playing guard.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the next level, the kid's going to be a stud as a guard. And do you want me to give you my number 1 now, Jerome?
Go ahead.
Because I'm going to give you a 1A and a 1B. And
gosh,
there's a caveat here.
What? Whoa. This is disgusting.
I had to throw a curveball at you there, man. I want to see if you guys should flatten out your bat and go the other way with it. That's all.
What the heck?
I had Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa as my number 1 interior offensive lineman because he is a center. He's athletic. He is almost a Travis Kelce clone. And he was a state wrestling champion who beat Christian Wirfs for a state title 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that tells you how physical he is as an interior offensive lineman. But I had Kenyon Green as my number 1 interior for the draft, though. Not as a
that's fair.
He's going to play tackle because, like Jacob said, teams tend to take their best athletes and just throw them at tackle. I don't agree with it either, but that's what they're going to do. And the kid is going to be a stud no matter where you play him at. So,
you had me going with you there for a second. Hold on. I was so excited. I'm like, yeah, he's got my guy. Wait a second. Did he just say he's number 1 for the –
because he's not he's not playing interior offensive line this year. I mean, I know the last 2 years he has, and he's been a stud there. But we are giving players like going into this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, man, I'm doing my own thing. You can do whatever. You can go by whatever rules you want. I'm right in my head.
Right. Hey, I'm an old school guy, man. I don't break the rules. I abide by them. Okay?
Right.
He's the man that has an A1 and A2, A big.
Yeah, I don't. The only reason I do that is because I like you, Jacob. You know this, Jerome. You know this. From 7 to 10 to 12 or 13 is very close, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob, and reveal your number 1.
Yeah, it's Tyler Linderbaum. I mean, the guy 2 years ago wasn't a center. 2 years ago, he's a D tackle. And then he comes to play center. Everyone says, what the heck? This guy's really good. And then last year, he was the best interior lineman in the country. I mean, we're talking about a guy that I'm going to differ with you here. I do think he's the best center in the draft currently. He's the best center in the draft. He's the best interior lineman in the draft, in my opinion. And I think the only
Here's where you're wrong about that.
Oh, I'm wrong.
Kenyon Green is playing interior offensive lineman this year. He is the number 1 guy.
Yeah, but he's not.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's why I didn't put him at my number 1. gave you a little caveat and said if he were, though, his game film from last year is beastly.
It is.
Run blocking, pass protection. He is incredible. But I am a Linderbaum fan, and almost every mock draft with Miami I've done so far this year, I have Miami getting him somehow. So
but when I gave you guys Landon Dickerson last year in the mock draft, I was the idiot. My bad. But
Landon Dickerson's coming off of 3 major injuries in 4 seasons.
Yeah, well, I don't care about that. He's going to be a beast for us. But
I hope you're right. Again, I don't root against people. I'm not
100%.
I'm not one of these guys that like people are hoping that Jalen Hurts fails because they didn't like him coming out of college.
Yeah.
No, I hope all of these guys reach their full potential and their dreams of playing the NFL, because I know that's what I would want for my son.
Yeah,
but I just don't know. I love Linderbaum. I think he's going to be a stud. I think he's a first-round talent. But I think Kenyon Green will be taken before him as a guard.
I would agree with that, because I think the only thing keeping Linderbaum from going higher is that he's a center.
Exactly.
It's the thing that's going to – Tyler Linderbaum, he's going to be devalued for the staff and light, and he's going to possibly be a not top 15 guy because of that, because centers don't go in your top 15.
I'm praying that he's not, because I want Miami to take him in the first round, towards from 20 on, wherever they pick there, I'm hoping.
But yeah, he's a Jason Kelce. I mean, I feel like I've watched him every week for the Eagles for the past decade. The way that you could just put him out in the screen game, the way that you could pull him as a center. And my biggest thing is, and I said this the other night when I watched him, so many college guys, they can get to the second level good, but if you watch it, they struggle to get hands on the next level defenders. They struggle to get hands on the linebackers and the safeties. Tyler Linderbaum's like glue. He gets to the second level guys every single time, and usually he's flattening them too. Yep. Usually he's absolutely flattening them.
My thing I keep saying, and I've written down right underneath his name here, and I write everything with pen just so everybody knows. He is a more physical Jason Kelce.
Yeah. I think he might be able to hold up against some of these bigger D tackles than Kelce, because that was always the thing with Kelce. Whenever we run into like a 3-4 team, especially when we played the Titans and like Jarrell Casey would just have a field day, he's going to be able to withstand those guys more than Kelce. Maybe. We think, obviously.
No, my dream is Linderbaum in the first round, Kyron Williams in the second round, then I win a Super Bowl. That's a dream.
I mean, my dream is my dream ends at the Super Bowl too, but I don't know if either of them's attainable.
All I know is you, sir, and you, sir, are complete cheaters. You're tireless. We're scrapping this up. We throwing it out, throwing it in the trash can. No, I'm joking. But let's get to our last topic, guys. It is the state of the program. I love this part of the podcast, because we talk about individual teams, and we go down the list, and we really talk about, do we think they are going to be better from what they had last year? Now, as you guys already know, COVID happened last year, so a lot of teams had less games. Some teams lost because certain situations and different scheduling. So there is kind of a asterisk to some of these. But we're going to get all into that. And we're going to talk about our first team, which would be the University of Buffalo. So last year, they were 6-1, a really very productive year, a year that I don't think most people thought they would have had such a great year. Leading the charge was our guy, Jared Patterson, who got he got signed to the Washington football team this year. So best of luck to our guy down there. He's a great guy.
He might do some stuff there, man. Yeah, he might make that roster and play for them. I think he's going to make that roster.
I was highly surprised he didn't get drafted. But
very highly surprised.
Did you have a great backup guy in Kevin Marcy? He had a very productive year last year as well. Some of the games that they're going to be playing this year will be against Wagner, Nebraska, Coastal Carolina, Old Dominion, West Michigan, Kent State, Ohio, Akron, Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio, Northern Illinois, and Ball State. So, Ray, I'm gonna start with you. Better or worse?
I'm gonna say they're gonna be better than last year. I mean, I don't think they're only gonna have one loss, but I think they're only gonna lose like maybe 2 games. I think, like you said, I think Kevin Marks was a good football player, and they've showed that they want to run the ball and use the play action pass. And their defense has. I'm looking at their roster right now, which I have a media guide there too. Okay, so 1,
he's got a flash the media
2,
guide
3, 4,
Not
5,
only
6,
does he have the shirt, he has the media guide.
seven returning starters on defense. Another 3 guys that got some playing time last year. I think their defense is going to be pretty good again. I think Buffalo is going to be that team. I think they're going to be good.
Definitely. Before we get on to Jacob's point, thank you, One Scoop Studio, and I know who that is. That's Lamarcus. He says, "Is there anyone who can match up with Aaron Donald consistently?"
No.
I'm just gonna answer that for anybody. No.
No,
Are we talking about in the league right now or ever?
No. Yes. Yes and no.
In college, it doesn't matter. No, the answer is no.
No, I mean, well, the game is so different now. I mean,
maybe when he's like 40, there'll be someone that can.
No, I mean he's a beast all onto his own. I mean, you could argue that I would argue that him and Joe Green for the Steelers are the best 2 interior defensive linemen ever played football.
I've never watched Joe Green before, but I would probably agree with that.
But the thing is, though, here's the thing, and this is why I think it's like if Reggie White played in the NFL right now, he probably would be that guy. Would he be as good as Aaron Donald? Maybe. But I don't know that because he doesn't play now.
You can only compare like guys like Reggie White though to your Aaron Donald.
Well, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. Like when you're comparing anybody to Reggie White, that tells you how good they are. So.
Yeah. All right, Buffalo. I agree because I think Kevin Marks is a really good college back. He's gonna step in, and those carries going to be there. I think they're going to be around the same team. The only way they're going to be much better is if Van Treese can take another step. And Van Treese isn't even a bad quarterback either. He just doesn't have to throw a lot. I mean, why would he? They had such a good 1-2 punch with Patterson and Marks. But now he might be asked to throw more. And if he can show more, they're definitely a team that even after losing a good amount of linemen, even after losing their top rusher, they're still a team that could probably win that MAC championship. I would not be surprised when they're in that game at all. They got a good, solid team.
Well, I mean, that's why I think they're going to be right there because they actually have 4 returning offensive linemen too.
Yeah, they just lost. They lost 2 of them, I believe. Yeah, I know they lost the left tackle.
They lost their left tackle for sure.
And I thought the one was transferring. I thought there one.
I don't. Again, I got these these things like
their one guard
right after last year. So
yeah, their one guard is transferring. I'm pretty sure. So
is it Gall or Clank?
Who is? I thought one of their guys is transferring. I might be wrong. I might be capping here. might be absolutely capping here.
Well, according to this, their
Continue on.
The projected start of lineman is Gabe Wilson, Jacob Gow, Mike Nowitzki, Jack Clink, and
Jake Fusick.
Jake Fusick, yeah.
I could be thinking of another team then.
Yeah, okay. So I think he's team.
And they were on an offensive team last year. And remember, Patterson almost broke records, and the only reason he didn't was because Kevin Mark was really good too. So, you know.
Yeah, and their coach.
Their coach. And really, the quarterback is not a bad runner. He's a solid runner. So.
Hold on. I think I found it. I think I found it. Jacob Gall. This might not be happening anymore, but that's the thing. I might have absolutely It might have been retracted. He was supposed to go to Baylor. I don't know if it's still now. That's a big thing for them, though. That's an experienced lineman. Losing one guy is one thing, but you lose two of them, that's a little more hard there. But I still think with them, they're a program that can recover from losing a couple guys.
Definitely. And I'm super excited to see Buffalo versus Coastal Carolina. You guys already know how Coastal Carolina came in last year. They're going to be returning with the vengeance next year as well. So they still got a chip on their shoulder, even with their success for last year. So that's going to be a great game. So from the MAC to the Pac-12, we're going to go straight to Oregon. So last year, Oregon finished the season 4-3. Their best players, obviously, a player that might go top 3, maybe even top 2, maybe number 1.
For this name.
I always can't say his last name.
I'm waiting for this name. Let's hear it.
Bido?
Oh, no. Thibodeau?
No. Thibodeau? Okay, Thibodeau.
Yeah, think of it Thibodeau. Think of it like the at least how I think of it is like the basketball coach. They're like Tom Thibodeau.
Okay, yeah, you're right. All right, so they got some great players on their team. The schedule for next year, they're playing Fresno State, Ohio State, Stony Brook, Arizona, Stanford, Cal, UCLA, Colorado, Washington State, Utah, and Oregon State. So, Jake, I'm gonna start with you. Better, worse, or about the same?
It's tough because they have talent. Like they have a lot of talent, and they got hit hard last year. They were one of the teams that were hit hardest from COVID because you think of almost every standout guy on that team. And man, Oregon was the most frustrating team when it came to draft analysts because you had Sewell opt out, you had the safety Holland opt out, so you had talented guys that opted out. Now they don't know who their I'm not sure who their quarterback's going to be starting. They have a couple guys that are talented that can go in the conversation. I'm going to say better. I'm going to say that a program as good as them, they're going to figure it out. They have talent on the defensive side of the ball. They have Thibodeau. They have the younger Sewell, who looks like an absolute monster. Absolute monster. They have talent all over the field. It's just up for Cristobal and them to figure it out. And I think they're a good enough program to definitely improve on being only one win over 500.
Definitely. And before I get to let Ray say his, I'm gonna just name some guys on this team because they got, like you said, they got some talented guys. They got CJ Verdell, the running back,
experienced running back
this year. Micah Pittman, Jalen Reed, just to name a few. Alex Forsyth as a lineman. On defense, they got Muse Funa, Noah Sewell, Micah Wright. Just to name a few guys, they got some talent on that team. That team is really talented. Ray, what do you think about this team?
I agree with Jacob. I think they're going to be better than their record was last year. I think the COVID year was a little bit. It kind of like really hit them kind of like too hard. Not like Jacob said, not guys even getting sick, guys just opting out of the season. So that kind of hurt them. And Oregon's one of them teams. They're usually pretty athletic. They're going to compete. I think they'll be pretty good. I
was counting.
I could see them going 8-4.
That's fair.
Maybe,
yeah, like that kind of range. I don't think they're going to be like a top 10 team. Like I see some people projecting, possibly maybe, but like I can see them definitely being like a top 25 team.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to see, like we're going to do a USC in a couple minutes here. I think you're going to see them two teams fight it out for that conference at the end, or with maybe with one other team thrown in that mix. But Oregon usually is athletic. USC is usually pretty athletic. It kind of depends on who gets a break here and gets a break there. If you remember, USC wasn't very good last year, but they won a couple games at Rue. You were like, wow, I was surprised they won that game. So,
Yeah.
Definitely. They got an early test next year with Ohio State being on their schedule really early second of the season. So that's going to be fun to watch. I think that's one of the games that I highlight for next year.
Yep.
All right. Oh, I'm still on Buffalo. All right, here we go. Let's get to USC. That'll be our next team that we will be talking about. And USC ended the year 5-1 actually. Despite their inconsistent year, they won five. They were 5-1. They had a lot of close games as well. But we'll get into that. Let's talk about their schedule for next year. So they have this year rather. They have San Antonio State. They got Stanford, Washington State, Oregon State, Colorado, Utah, Notre Dame, Arizona State, Cal, UCLA, and BYU. So they got the returning guy, Solovis, their head guy at quarterback, a guy that me and Ray talked about previously in our quarterback rankings. Ray, what do you think about USC?
I think that they'll be USC. They're going to be right in the mix there. I really think that Oregon's a little better than them. I do like Slovis. I think Slovis is a good quarterback. But they, like you guys said, they won close games last year, which there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a good team, you should win the close games. Mm-hmm. To me, that's what separates the good and the bad teams a lot of times. But I don't understand why they're not playing Oregon this year. That surprises me a little bit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that would have been a real big game. Big game. Jacob, what do you think about this team? Better or worse, or about the same?
I mean, it's and this is where it's definitely harder to judge better or worse because you're talking about the team that only played 6 games last year. I think they're a good team. They definitely lost some people, and they definitely lost some firepower on offense. I like Drake London. They were a wide receiver, but they lost St. Brown, they lost Vaughns. I'm pretty sure the running back Carr also left to another team, but they did get the Texas running back. I want to say Ingram, but I personally liked Carr. I don't know. This is gonna be like my catchphrase. It all comes down to the quarterback. Which Slovis are we gonna get? Are we gonna get the one from his freshman year and parts of last year too? Like he wasn't just this quarterback that was bad last year. He just had some shaky moments, and we don't know if that was because of the injury. We don't know if that impacted the season. We don't know. Is he going to be more stable, and are they going to be able to? I know he can do it in the fourth quarter. Is he going to have the firepower to do so? I'm going to say they're going to be a little slightly worse. Just a little slightly worse. I don't think they have some of the talent as some other teams, such as Oregon, but they're still going to be a good team. I mean, USC is not a program that I typically think of as, they lost some stars. They're going to absolutely fall apart now. They're a good run program that stays at the top of the Pac-12 for a reason.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that me and Ray was talking about when we were doing our assessments on the quarterbacks is that Slovis was started off very slow and then he'll get hot throughout the game. And that's what was the results of some of those close games. The Arizona State game, the Arizona game, the even the Utah game. I mean, they won 33-17, but that was close at one point. Even their last game versus Oregon, they did lose that game, but that was 24-31. So another last minute, fourth quarter kind of game. So for US and me and Ray said it. If they can start off faster this year and Slovis have a hotter, be hot throughout the game rather than at the end of the game, they're going to be a better program, I believe. Ray, did you want to add on to that?
I think that they're going to miss St. Brown a lot. He was the one vertical threat they had last year they could depend on every game. And I like Slovis. I think he's a top quarterback coming into this season. I just don't think they have the firepower they had last year, and I don't think they're going to be quite as good. I don't.
I agree.
Let's get to our next team. It's going to be Florida Gators.
Yeah. Speaking of teams without as much firepower as last year.
Yeah. So I know I kind of already know what Ray's going to say. So I'm going to start with you, Jacob. So this is the Florida team. They were 8-4 last year. Lost a lot of talent, as you guys already know. Kyle Pitts, their quarterback, Kyle Trask, a lot of their receivers, a couple of guys on defense. So to highlight some guys that are coming back is Kyer Elam, their cornerback from last year. Who else? Damian Pierce, their running back, who's a senior there. So they got a couple of guys that coming back, but a lot of new faces in that offense and defense actually. To get to their schedule, they play Florida Atlantic, South Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, LSU, Georgia of Jacksonville, Florida. I didn't even know there was a Georgia of Jacksonville, Florida. Interesting. South Carolina, Sanford, Mizzou, and Florida State to wrap up the season. Jacob, 8-4 last year. Better, worse, or about the same?
So they're definitely a worse team than they were last year. I mean, everyone catching passes is pretty much gone. The guy throwing the passes is gone. Though there is some solid hype around Emory Jones. So you think automatically, oh yeah, this is definitely a team that's going to do worse. Even though I thought they did better than 8-4 last year. I didn't even realize they lost 4 games. But you look at that schedule, there's a solid amount of winnable games there, isn't there? But that might just be biased because, it's Florida. I definitely think it's going to be a worse team, and I think they're going to drop some of those quote-unquote easier games that they definitely should. A game like a Kentucky, a game like maybe a South Carolina, like something like those. I'm not going to say they're going to lose to like a Samford or anything, but one of those SEC games that you feel that they should definitely be winning, like Kentucky, like South Carolina, like Tennessee. It's just going to be a program that they're going to have to kind of rebuild. I mean, they lost everyone. They lost everyone on that offense.
Definitely. To go on your point with the 8-4, Jacob, they did go 8-2 during their actual regular season.
Yeah.
SEC championship game they lost, and then the Cotton Bowl they lost. So that gave them 8-4. So
that makes a lot more sense.
You're probably like a little off on that. Ray, you kind of said it before in our previous podcast, and how you feel about the team. I want to know again, just to reiterate, anybody that haven't heard the last podcast, what do you feel about Florida this year?
Honestly, I think they're a 5-win team. I don't see nothing special. I mean, if you look at the beginning of their schedule of Florida Atlantic, you would think, no, they could lose that game.
That's what I was saying earlier.
They could lose to South Florida. Mm-hmm. They will lose to Alabama. They could lose to Tennessee. They could lose. They won't lose to Kentucky, but they could lose to Kentucky.
Yeah.
So that's 0-1-4, 0-5 to start the season. That's tough to come back from. And they only have 9 returning starters from last year. I don't see. I think that after this year they'll be looking for a new coach again. But we'll see.
Wow. Yeah, they lost a lot, man, and
a lot.
They basically rebuilding it, and maybe Emory Jones might help them out as a quarterback. Like Jacob was saying, he got a little hype behind him, but it's a big unknown. We don't know how that's gonna turn out, especially with all the new pieces and weapons there in Florida.
I mean, I wasn't a big Kyle Trask guy, but you can't doubt the stats that he put up last year. I mean, they lost their top 2 receivers. They lost the all-world tight end. I mean, I just don't see where
they lost their left tackle.
That record. And they lost their left tackle. I mean, again, 9 of 22 returning starters. That's pretty significant.
And you look at the production that came from the guys. It almost feels like North Carolina. Except it's almost like if North Carolina also lost Hal this year. I
mean, with most of these other teams, you kind of like I'm looking at a media guide. With most of these other teams, you could see you'll see top 3 receivers, top 3 rushers, and there's usually one guy still there.
They're all gone.
They're all
gone.
They have nobody. Anybody who's in their stats from last year is not on the team anymore.
Definitely. All right, let's get to our next team, which is going to be Vanderbilt. So Vanderbilt last year had a very, very bad year, being 0-9, losing to Texas A&M, LSU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Kentucky, Florida, Mizzou, and Tennessee. So let's talk about their schedule for this year. Maybe they might do a little bit better. They got a new running back in Remain Davis, who coming from Temple, as some of us already know who he is coming in. So that might be a big boost to their offense. Their quarterback is in their second year, so we'll see how that goes. A lot of returning pass catchers for them will be in their offense, so we'll see how that goes. But to talk about their schedule, they got Eastern Tennessee, Colorado State, Stanford, Georgia, Connecticut, Florida, South Carolina, Mississippi State, Mizzou, Kentucky, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Ray, what do you think the Vanderbilt will do this year? Will it be better?
They're not going to be. I don't think they're going to go on winless, but I don't see more than 3 or 4 wins here. Yeah. So even though they'll be better than last year, not winning a game, they're not going to be good enough to where anybody's going to pay attention to them. So
definitely. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, same exact thing we talked about with UMass last year. They are now except Vanderbilt's in a complete rebuild now. I believe they have the new coach. I want to say I'm not sure on that one. If not, they're going to
Coach
What'd you say?
Coach Clark-Lee.
Yeah. They had Mason for for a good while, and it's definitely the toughest job in college football you have, trying to rebuild this program that's been really down the dumps. You just need progression. You need progression in any areas to make this team watchable, to try getting recruits in. It's going to be baby steps trying to get out of the basement there.
I do like Clark-Lee a lot. I think he's a very, very, very good defensive coach. Of course, he was at Notre Dame last year, and he's an alumni from Vanderbilt, so I think he went there with the mindset that we're going to get better, but it's going to be a slow process.
Yeah.
Definitely. I will say this is that their schedule looks a lot looser this year than last year. I mean, the teams that they was playing were bigger house kind of teams, and they have a little bit looser in their schedule, playing like a Eastern Tennessee, a UConn, that's almost it, to be honest.
Honestly, they're the 3 games I'm talking about. They could beat Eastern Tennessee. Yeah. They could beat Connecticut, maybe. They maybe can stay in a game with Kentucky. Yeah. I don't know if they'll win more than them 3 games, though. I don't. I mean, again, I like Clark-Lee. I'm hoping for him to do good things, but he's playing in a very good conference, and he doesn't have a lot of talent on his team right now. So, again, like Jacob said, baby steps. Got to crawl before you can run, man. So
definitely, and they got the quarterback is coming in as a sophomore, so his second year in college football. So maybe they might be a little bit better. We don't know, but this is definitely a team that we hope that gets better. And like you said, Clark-Lee from Notre Dame, hopefully he can turn this program around.
I mean, that's the other thing that scares me, though. I think Ken Seals is a decent prospect. I think he's a good kid with an upside as a good sturdy kid. Mm-hmm. But their offensive line is bad, and they're only returning 2 starters, and they were bad last year. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Tyler Sheen and Drew Birchmeyer.
Who were not bad football players, but
they're good.
Again, you're not, and it's the defense last year. If you look at the scores of the games, they gave up a ton of points last year.
Oh yeah.
And again, Clark-Lee's going to go in there, and Clark-Lee plays a 5-2 defense, and to get that type of personnel at a school like Vanderbilt right off the bat is going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, and to back up Ray's argument, their first game they lost they gave up a score of 17, but just went downhill from there. 41, 52, 54, 24, 38 in the game that they was actually really close with was Kentucky last year. 38, 41, and 42. So, Yeah, their defense needs.
And Missouri's a good team,
Yeah,
but you gave up 41 points to Missouri. You gave up 42 to Tennessee, whose offense was not good last year. So it's tough.
definitely. But that will do it for us today, guys. Thank you guys so much for checking us in on the RPO podcast. We'd like to thank Jacob again for being on here as a guest appearance. Guys, and we thank all our viewers. We thank every last one of you guys for coming in and checking us out. Shout out to Lamarcus. We thank you for your comment in there. Guys, make sure you go check us out on all our platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Check us all out on there inside the hatch, especially YouTube, where if you don't watch this live today, you can go on there and put your comments in there. We will check them out and reply to your comments on YouTube. So if you are going to put a comment on our videos, go on YouTube, put it on there. And while you're on there, like and subscribe. That's just going to help you. If you haven't seen this live and you wasn't able to put your live comment in here, hit that notification bell so you can know when we go live. And every time we go live, you can just be like, oh, they're live. Let me put my comment in there or say something on here. Tell me how good looking I am. I don't care. But just playing, guys. Just playing. Just joking. But definitely check us out. Also check us out on all our podcast platforms, YouTube. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can find all our player interviews, a lot of players that we talked about today, like Jared Patterson, something like that. You can go in there and check us out and check out, his interview with us before he got signed to the Washington football team this year. So definitely go check that out. Inside the Hatches on all your favorite podcast platforms. And also check us out on InsideTheHatches.com where you can find all our content on there. You can find all our football content, gaming, football, fantasy, all that, interviews, all that. So go on there, InsideTheHatches.com. So, guys, thank you guys for checking us out. We'll be back next week where we're talking some defense. We're going on the dark side, my favorite side, the dark side. So, if you enjoyed this podcast and you want to go check us out, make sure you come and join us again next week. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. We got Jacob Kepin right there. We got the man, the myth, the legend right down here, Mr. Ray Roberts. Guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in with us, and we see you again next week. Have a good one. Peace.